Listener discretion is advised. This podcast may include profanity and discussion of sensitive topics. Any opinions expressed are those of the speaker and do not reflect the opinions of any other person or entity.
Welcome to episode 15 of the Real Future Podcast. My name is John Nyboer. I'm a Los Angeles-based photographer of street dance culture, and I started this podcast to share the stories and perspectives behind the world's largest arts movement. My guest today is dancer, choreographer, and model G'bari Gilliam, aka GQ. Jabari is one of the most talented dancers I've ever seen, and he absolutely lights up a room whenever he takes the stage. That's why he's always in demand, and has an impressive list of credits that includes work with Billy Porter, Bad Bunny, Disney, and Tyler Perry. I was really excited that he found the time to stop in for a conversation and a drum dance improvisation. You're really going to like this artist, so let's get into the real future with G'bari Gilliam. I need a hair or something here, but you just call me Shaggy.
We all have our days.
Oh, it's more than a day. Anyway, welcome to the real future, G'bari Gilliam.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day, out of your life to come here. You are my 15th guest.
Nice.
Officially, yeah.
Okay.
So this thing's moving forward, and I'm looking forward to getting your story.
Awesome.
I usually start with a pretty basic question, which is, what's your first dance memory?
First actual dance memory?
What do you mean by actual?
Well, I'll say this because my mom tells me that my first dance, I guess, realization that I really enjoyed dance was somewhere around kindergarten, but I don't remember it, but she remembers it vividly. She took me to see Alvin Ailey, and she told me that
when you were how old?
In kindergarten.
Oh my gosh.
And she told me that after the show, I was like, "Mommy, I want to do that." I have no remembrance of this, but she said that's exactly what I said after the show. Is that I want to do that.
Wow, because that's really a coin toss. You take somebody that young. I know. A lot of times when I would get taken to some kind of performing arts event as a little kid, I would usually not.
It's attention span could be here or it could not be there.
I like the orchestra because. Yeah, so that was my I liked the orchestra. I liked because I could identify all the instruments.
Okay,
and I'd be like, oh, I hear the oboe, I hear the bassoon.
Yes.
But so what's the first thing you remember?
The first thing I remember,
yeah,
I was in. I forget what the name of the program was, but my parents used to put me in summer programs for each year. Each year there was maybe a math program or an arts program. There was one year where one of the programs had this, it's very interesting and very random. They had this circus themed program. So I randomly learned how to juggle there. But I remember one of the programs that she put me in had dance, and they had me taking dance classes, and they had me learning, it was more creative movement, but they were using hip hop music. And I remember that kind of being my first introduction of I can kind of do things with my body into the music, and this is kind of fun. And that was maybe around, I want to say that might have been around 4th or 5th grade.
4th or 5th grade.
Yeah.
And so were you given steps in choreography, or was this just completely?
It was. I don't quite remember if we were given because we didn't have a culmination. There wasn't a show or anything,
right,
but it was
right.
Okay, you're learning these things, these different steps. And then I don't remember if we did it in an actual choreographic way, or if it was a call and response situation.
Okay.
But that was kind of my first dance memory. And then later on, around 8th grade, that's when I actually got into taking dance classes and really understanding what dance meant to me.
And where was this? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Bay Area. I was born in Oakland, California, and then moved around different areas, but I like to say that I grew up in Berkeley, California, because that's where a lot of my family is grown up. I went to high school in Berkeley, California, so I spent a lot of my time there. That's where I spent most of my, I would say, formative years. Was really growing up in Berkeley. but the dance program that I was a part of was in Richmond, California. And that was at a studio or a performing arts center called the East Bay Center for the Performing Arts.
So is this the time you're talking about when you...
Yes. That's
Okay.
from like 8th grade through high school.
You were part of that, was it a company? Like, how do you refer to it?
It would be, so for this performing arts center, they offer different things. They offer voice lessons. They offer instrument lessons, like you take guitar, steel pans, piano. They offer acting classes. They offer dance classes. They offer a wide range of things. And for their summer program, you have to take as many of those classes as possible.
Was it year round or was it just summer?
They have it year round, but each summer they have a program where the different students within the program, they all come together and they take different classes throughout the entire summer.
But you were doing it all year.
Yeah, I was doing it all year.
And what was so how does that work? Like, you come in as a young adolescent, right?
Mm-hmm.
12 or 13, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And were you like, I want to do this style? Do they make you try out a lot of styles? Is there an audition process?
Oh, they made me try out everything. Because honestly, when I came in, I knew that I had an interest in dance, but I actually wasn't even interested in dance, like dancing, taking different dance classes at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But for their summer program, they had you take everything. You had to take an acting class, you had to take dance, you were doing vocal lessons, you were trying different things out. I had originally come in wanting to go into more vocal things, like more singing things, because back then I was trying to be the next Chris Brown. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And then they had me take these different dance classes. I ended up taking ballet for the first time, taking jazz for the first time, taking hip hop, taking West African for the first time, and fell in love with it. And slowly but surely, dance became the forefront of everything. And I still sing here and there, but vocals, because like that's just something for me now. And dance became just how I really express myself.
Did you maintain that throughout your time, junior high school, doing this? Did you maintain that multidisciplinary focus, or did you slowly... The reason I ask is once you started saying this, this is why. Every style you mentioned, I've seen you work that in.
Yeah.
Right? And so did you continue to work on all of those that whole time?
In a way, some more than others, but I feel like because I've learned so much in so many different styles, I feel like they're all part of me and how I like to showcase myself and how I'm feeling. So they've all developed with me. Some I may train more than others, like a lot of the hip hop and street dance things I train more. They're at the forefront of who I am because I feel most connected to them. But things like ballet, contemporary, jazz, West African, they've played a big part in my own growth and taking me into different spaces and different places. So they've definitely grown with me as well, and highly and heavily influence just like where I feel like I'm going to.
Oh, this is why I do this podcast, right? Because you forgive me if this is awkward, but I don't see a lot of male dancers that have this kind of versatile technique, right? And like, it's obvious that you've had training in these different areas, right? So, or it seemed like it. I shouldn't say obvious because I didn't really know. But now this explains why when you're like doing spins on your toes, like your center of gravity is like right here in a way that I don't see a lot. I met you in the street dance scene, and at what point did you decide that that hip hop culture and street dance are going to kind of be the focus, or how did you get magnetized by that? Yeah,
I would say that kind of drew me in once I came out here to LA. I did a program my junior year in high school at UCLA, and was introduced to some of the founding members of VersaStyle, and they showed me what house dance was. They showed me that street dance culture and the freestyle underground scene was still very present. It wasn't something that just happened in movies like You Got Served and things like that. This was still a thriving and beautiful culture. And that drew me in, and later had me apply to UCLA, where I got even deeper in that training and that foundation. Later to join the company for a while, and to
join Versatile.
Yes,
I think when I met you were still working with Versatile.
Yeah, I was in Versatile for about 7 years, and learning and training and performing with them. And now I moved on to doing my own thing and showcasing my art in different ways, and still very present in the street dance underground world, and seeing just where my voice lies within all of that.
What was that UCLA experience? Was that your first time coming to LA?
When it was, okay, yes and no.
Okay.
I came, my first couple times coming to LA was actually just like as a kid going to like Disneyland and stuff like that.
Oh, you got nice parents.
Yeah, you know.
I grew up 20 minutes north of Disneyland, and it was like, they took us a couple times, and it was just like,
my mom loves Disneyland, so she's a big kid at the end of the day. So she was like, "You guys are gonna come with me." So my first experience with LA was Disneyland, and then I feel like my first experience outside of like the being a big kid in it all, and like the adult aspect of it, was that experience like with UCLA, and really understanding the possibilities of what life as an adult would be like out here, and what those possibilities could be. So I think, UCLA was kind of my first experience of this is adulthood outside of the Bay Area.
Wow. So you came and you did that program, and then you actually ended up going to UCLA as a student.
I did.
And is that why you moved to LA?
Yeah, that's why I moved to LA. I moved here in 2012, graduated in 2016, and said, I guess this is where I'm going to be at.
Nice. And you had was it a degree in dance performance, or what was the actual?
Yes, I got a degree in dance, and then I have a minor in visual and performing arts education.
Oh, okay. Nice. So that's probably, and then you got into Versatile straight out of
Yes, I actually got into Versatile while I was still in college. I believe I joined around 2014, 2015, around that area. And then after that, I was just in the company, performing, traveling, and battling, teaching, all of those things.
And then all of your, when you started auditioning, were you auditioning as a street dancer or a hip hop dancer, or were you trying to pursue those other styles as well?
It was a little bit, it started off as being more in the street dance world with it, because although I had experience with choreography in different ways, I wasn't as, I guess, steeped in it as I was with my street dance element at the time. So I was booking a lot more jobs with just freestyle. And then later on, I was like, okay, well, I want to do both. I want to be able to be one of the best freestylers in the room and be able to do the choreography aspect in whatever style that I want to as well. So why not just do it all?
I mean, because you can, I guess. What styles do you consider yourself fluent in?
Okay. The styles that I consider myself fluent in are hip hop, house, whacking, Vogue, and West African.
Okay. So you mentioned that some of those styles you got introduced to in school. Did the ballroom styles, how did you get into the voguing and whacking? How did you get into that?
I was introduced to whacking by two people. First was Barry Groove, Anthony Barry, because he was one of the people that was whacking within the company of Versatile.
Shout out to Barry. Hello.
Yes. Another was Tiffany Bong. She came in and she would teach us every now and then. So she kind of like furthered my knowledge in that. And then later on, I would get other teachers like Victor Manuel and Lorena Valenzuela, and would be dancing with them. And that knowledge and experience coming from them, I was learning not only technique and history about whacking, but I was also understanding that there was a connection between whacking and Vogue. They are two very different styles, but being that they were coming up around the same time within similar communities, it taught me that, okay, there is a connection here, but how can you honor them while at the same time keeping them respectively separate? So that allowed me to further my knowledge in the ballroom scene. So I went and go take classes from like Dolores Ninja and Deshaun Wesley to kind of understand what that even looks like, what that technique was like on my body, and how that was different for me when it came to whacking. So I wanted to be a student on not just whacking, but just like understanding the sister style of whacking at the same time. And knowing me, I don't like to just kind of like get a taste of things. I want to dive into the culture. So I got into going to balls more often, which led me to take a liking to different categories of the ballroom scene, which led me into joining a house within the ballroom scene, which I'm a part of the House of Gorgeous Gucci. And then
You're part of House of Gorgeous Gucci?
Yes, I'm part of the House of Gorgeous Gucci. So it's just furthered my knowledge and my passion for it. Just like the idea of learning more.
What's the, if you don't mind diving into that a little bit, what are the, like when you join a house, is there a formal process for becoming a member? Sort of like Crump has a very very ritualized process. For joining a house, is it similar? And like, what's the level of involvement for you at this point? Like, is it something that comes across once every 6 months, or is it like a daily thing? What's the?
I'll say every house is different. They all have their different, I guess, protocols or like ways that they go about things. The way that I was brought into my house was someone from the community saw me at an event, and I was just walking. As when you're not in the house, they call you a 007. You're a free agent. You get to do what you want.
Okay.
So I was walking as a 007 up in the Bay Area, actually, and somebody scouted me from that and was like, "Are you in the house? Are you interested in doing this? Or like how interested and serious are you about it?" And it was like, "Well, I'd like to know more. I'd like to learn more." And they connected me with people out here. From there, they brought me come into a couple of practices. And then from there, they were like, "Okay, you're interested and you're serious. You're committed to being a part of this. So we want to train you in the categories that you're interested in to see if this is where you actually want to be. Because a house isn't just a name, it is also a family. You have to connect with the people that are also a part of your house. You have to make sure that you're showing up, and it's not just I show up here and there, but I'm showing up to really support the other people that are involved in this as well, showing up for the community." So once they saw that there was a seriousness and a willingness to be a part of it, they were like, "Okay, we would like for you to take on the name," which within a house, you take on the house's name as like your last name. So for me, I would be G'bari Gorgeous Gucci. Somebody else would be whatever their name is, Ninja or Lonvin or whatever that is. You take on the house name as your last name.
Okay. And is it Bay Area based? The house?
No, they're international. They have chapters all over the world.
So how do you show up, right? Like you mentioned that showing up for the community is a big part of this, which of course it is. How does that work in the context of an international disparate group?
Well, there's especially because it's June right now, there's a ball pretty much every weekend right now. But usually there's maybe at least a ball once a month in California. But then there's also events happening in Florida or New York, which is where Vogue and the ballroom culture started. There'll be situations in Seattle or Denver, Colorado. And same thing for things happening in like Brazil or Japan or Paris. There are balls happening all over the world. So every now and then they'll try to organize their different chapters to go to a ball in another country or another state to support and also show the strength of the house.
Have you been to balls in all these countries you named?
I have not yet. I've still been just building my name in California.
Okay.
And then soon I'll be trying to see if I can go to New York and then expand from there to go to international places.
I've never been. I honestly would love to go to one of these balls.
Yeah.
So we should follow up and
definitely
keep me on the calendar or whatever, however it works.
Yeah, I'll keep you connected.
Because yes, I definitely am a fan of what I know, right, of that culture, but don't know much. And so
we'll stay connected for sure.
On that. But it is interesting. Like you, kind of from the moment I saw you dancing, which is probably at Slim's classes, I'm guessing you would come through those sometimes.
Every now and then
Every
I would
now
go
and
to
then.
like something with a lot, but I was, especially younger, I was definitely like floating around. I was trying to learn as much as possible. So I would go to things like Creatington. I would go to pretty much everything that Versatile was doing, go to open house. I would go to, well, there was a lot going on during that
but
time.
you always like, it seemed like no matter the context, you were throwing that in like in a way that was like, oh, this seems just so natural to you.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a style that you try to deal with that you're like, no? Because you mentioned earlier about how figuring out how certain styles work with your body. That's something that I never considered as a non-dancer.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I think actually Madeline was one of the first people who brought this up. In the context of this podcast.
Okay.
Because she talked about, popping. She was really enamored of it, but at a certain point she realized it didn't really work with her body. Right. Did you ever encounter anything like that?
Yes. I feel like there's been a couple styles where it's like I enjoy watching them. I enjoy the culture aspect, but it just doesn't feel like it works for my body.
Yeah,
or
that's
works
what
for
I'm asking
me.
about.
And I've learned a little bit about Crump, and I enjoy watching Crump, but I feel like it doesn't work well for my body. I don't know what it is about it, but it just doesn't feel like it sits well for, I guess, how I feel like I express myself naturally. But I love watching it. I love the energy of it. I love the character and the storytelling that happens within it, because I also feel like that is something that draws me about it, because I connect to that. But yeah, Crump has.
Are you going to the Mecca at all?
I actually haven't even gotten the information about it.
All right,
yet.
We'll follow up on that.
Let me know.
Definitely going to the main event.
Let me
if
know.
Nothing else. It was incredible last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would love to
really
see
incredible.
See what's going on.
That dance form is so like, the catharsis is what always, and I want. Do you think part of it is like, it doesn't sit well with your body? Do you think if you really needed, if you were in search of that kind of release, do you think it might not matter?
I feel like yes. I feel like if I'm in need of that type of release, it doesn't matter, because I found myself tapping into that energy without actually using the style, if that makes sense. Because I've taken a crump class or two. I'm not a crumper. But I've also been around it a lot. I feel like I've been able to tap into that energy with using my own style. So connecting that buck energy to like whacking, and finding that type of cathartic release within that. Or even within house, finding a really like grounded and powerful version of my house dance to be able to release that as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been able to tap into it, but with the actual foundation in I guess, movement of crump, I haven't been able to tap in with that element, but I've been able to tap in with the buck essence of that with myself.
I was looking at a couple of, I do a little bit of homework for these, right? Like I don't want it to be, I guess you can see I don't have notes. I don't want to be like, so what would you, but I do like to just kind of like make sure I know what people are up to if I've missed something. And I was looking at a couple of your videos that you dropped over the, and I also watched your recent Club Jeté. Performance. And the Jeté was really interesting because you seem to get, like you just bring together all these different styles, right? Like I believe it was Toyin that started it.
Yes.
Right? So she comes out, and then gradually the stage fills up, but at the end, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, this is very much Jabari. We've got some whacking in it. We've got loads of hip hop dance. We've got house in there for sure.
Yes.
They're all very present. How did you? The choreography thing is something that. So like, I'm a musician, right? And I never took compositional training, but I know how to write, right? And I understand, like, it makes sense to me. Okay, I learned how to play guitar, I learned how to play piano. Now I want to write something, and then okay, will you write this thing, but choreography is, because I'm not a dancer, it's how do you connect your own desire to express your own dance within like taking that and developing a structured thing for other people? Like, do you have a formal process for that? Or you're just like, no, you go here and you kind of do this, and.
It's different every time, but usually the idea itself comes from a feeling or like a message or a statement that I'm trying to say and get across. And then that usually shows me what kind of movement I want to it or what kind of song that I want to have it based around. And then from that, figuring out what kind of movement I want, I usually see the dancers.
So, okay, let's dial back a little bit. What do you remember the first time you choreographed something of any kind?
The first time I really choreographed something of any kind on like somebody other than on myself was in high school. It was for our school pep rally, because my high school used to we would have our rally day in each grade, which would showcase like a dance.
Okay.
That the grade would create. And I remember I think it was my sophomore year. I was one of the dancers at school. And I choreographed like one or two of the sections of the dance. And I realized, one, just how challenging it was getting other people to understand my movement and what I wanted to do. But also just like structuring it all was also a challenge too.
So this was at school, not at the East Bay.
Yes, this was at school in high school, at my high school.
Okay, so that's interesting. You just did it from like scratch.
Yeah.
Did you then eventually get like more formal training on how to choreograph?
I did. UCLA helped me with that.
UCLA helped you with that.
Both in the actual dance program, which is very geared towards more of a concert dance approach. So like, even though I was using street dance, their approach is more geared towards like the ballet company world or the modern dance company world. So I was taking those ideas and figuring out how to use them in a street dance context. And then on the other end, I was a part of a dance team on the UCLA campus as well, which was more a competitive dance team, with using some elements of hip hop already. So I was learning things about formations and clean lines and things like that from that element. So I was getting different
clean
pieces.
lines as a group, you mean?
Clean lines as a group,
yeah.
Exactly. And being able to create shapes with different groups. So I was taking both the concert element and the competitive element while still working and training my freestyle and things like that, and blending them all together to get ideas on how I create now and create things like what I did for Club Chate.
Did you find that, do dancers do this entirely from memory, or is there some kind of written language, or does it depend on the choreographer? Like do you use any written materials when you're trying to illustrate for your dancers what you want them to do?
There are some written materials. I like to write down my formations, like where people are standing, so I can visually see, like, okay, this person is standing here.
Like draw or write down?
Draw them.
Okay.
I draw them out.
Yeah.
So I'll put like maybe X's, or maybe write like their initial, and then this person's gonna move this way, this person, they're going this way, and then they're gonna circle here, things like that to help me visualize until I'm in the space and I can actually see them do it.
Yeah.
That helps me.
And then you're like, no, that was all wrong.
Right, because sometimes it doesn't work. It's like what happened in my head did not actually work in real life.
Yeah. On the other side of that, do you remember like when you get out of school, there must have been a point where you went to an audition, like a real audition for a real job, and you get thrown the like, okay, learn these 16 bars in 2 seconds or whatever. Was this something that was like a shock to your system, or do you always deal with this really well?
It definitely was a shock to my system. I was at that point when I started doing auditions, I was used to learning choreography, but over longer periods of time. A lot of the spaces I was in, we would work on choreography for like 3 months before a performance.
Right, exactly, yes.
So it was like, okay, I have to learn like a whole song pretty much in like 30 minutes.
And so in school they didn't really tell you this.
No.
So they don't tell you in school.
They also were on the path of, we're going to work on this for 3 months and then we're going to perform. They were on that same track as well. So going into the industry where things are a lot faster paced, and it's like, okay, you have a week to prepare for this hour-long show. It's just a different experience. You have to be a lot quicker with things. So going into my first audition and being thrown pretty much 2 minutes of choreography in 30 minutes with 100 people in the room and not being able to dance full out and still having to perform.
Yeah, I mean, just for anybody,
my best.
Anybody try it. Like, try to learn 8 beats of choreography if you're not familiar with this, and see how long it takes you. Like,
it's a
to
practice.
me, this always impressed me. Like, I just be like, what?
It's a practice.
So it sounds like most of your peers or fellow students. There's a better word for that, but it's escaping me. We're looking at, or at least your education was kind of aiming toward the joining a dance company kind of thing. What gave you the courage or desire or combination of those to go into what we here call the industry, which means like going out for auditions for music videos and film and concert tours and stuff like this? What pushed you in that direction?
I feel like this may sound very greedy of me.
Let's go.
But I feel like I want to do it all. I want to be able to have the experience of being in a dance company or one day starting my own dance company if that's where life leads me. I want to be able to perform and showcase and battle and be in different spaces and teach in different spaces. I want to be able to be in a movie, be in a music video, be on a tour stage, traveling the world, dancing with an artist or choreographing for an artist or for a movie or a commercial. I want to be able to do it all.
And you've done most of this stuff to some extent,
I've done most
right?
of these things.
Have you been in a company, a dance company?
Well, with Versatile.
With Versatile, yes.
Yeah. So I was with them, and then I've danced briefly, a very short one-time situation with Rennie Harris Dance Company.
Oh, nice.
And I've done like different company work with different groups here and there. So I've done the company aspect, and I'm definitely not opposed to doing more of that work because I do enjoy it. But I felt like until maybe about 2021, 2022, I hadn't really fully experienced the industry world. So I wanted to see what it offered me, what I could do with it, where I could go. And it's been pretty fruitful. I've gotten to do some movies. I've gotten to do some commercials, some music videos. I've gotten to be in the choreographer lane and do TV shows and things like that. So it feels like my intention to do it all has not steered me wrong.
Right. I guess, do you think like, did you always have this kind of confidence? Like, was your family always like, oh, Jabari, he'll do anything? Or was this like...
I feel like I didn't necessarily have that outwardly confidence, but it was definitely instilled with me because my family has always been very supportive. My parents were very supportive of me being in the arts and just like trying to find what I was interested in. They would put me in drawing lessons, acting lessons, vocal lessons.
Were they artists themselves?
My mom was doing dance in high school. She was doing dance in high school, so she was very like, yeah, go for it. See what you like. See what you want to do. And when I was talking about going to college for dance, she was the main one who was like, yeah, go for it. If you feel like you need a backup plan, do it. But she was also very like, but you're going to college. So like that wasn't a negotiable for her. That was non-negotiable.
Right.
But going to college for dance, she was very open to it. And then she's always been having my back and been very supportive even after I've graduated and still been pursuing my dance career. She's somebody that I can riff off of like, what's something that I should do differently about this? Or should I go to this audition? Should I just go in a different route? Should I do this? She's been a great soundboard for that too, because she's always been supportive. So I feel like that confidence has been instilled in me because I've had that support system of like, yeah, go for it. Try it out. We also have your back if something goes differently. If it doesn't go your way, you're supported.
It's nice. I mean, I guess, that can go either way, right? A lot of parents are just terrified that their kids are going to be starving
Yes.
artists, right? Which is completely understandable. And then for some people, that's just a hurdle to cross. Like, I'm gonna show you, right?
Right.
But everybody's got a different path.
Yeah.
Where do you like right now? Are you focused on still doing it all, or is there one particular lane where you're kind of driving toward?
Right
at the
now,
moment? Yeah.
I feel like I'm open to a lot of different things, but where I'm putting my energy is more in a choreographic lane right now. I'm still trying to do a lot of things as a dancer, but I feel myself moving towards a more of a choreographic world, where I'm choreographing different music videos or trying to get into different artist camps to be working with them for tours and things like that, or the film world. I'm gearing myself up and trying to learn as much as possible so that I can be in that world, because I also feel like there's a very strong creative energy that I have, and a very strong, I guess, for lack of better words, strong movement base to be able to put different things together and create very powerful and dynamic stories.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a calling that I'm finding, as well as a calling to also bring back the culture and the history and the foundation of a lot of these street dance styles that are used a lot of the time in different ways, and show just like the beauty and power within that.
I'm really glad you brought this up. Something that I've been interested in, like, since I started paying attention to this and photographing this culture, is that the culture itself, and you mentioned separate culture. I'm using a broader umbrella just for street dance culture in general. Right? We can focus in on one if we want to, but I think this applies to pretty much every style and community. It's getting bigger. It's getting bigger. It's global. Every city and town in the world, like, has some kind of scene.
Yes.
Right? At the same time, you want to bring something back. So I don't even want to put anywhere. I want to know what you mean by that, because I think there's a disconnect. I think you get where I'm going with this. So where is that disconnect? What is it that needs to be brought back, or that you would like to help? And whether it's for all the styles or for one style in general, however you see it.
I'll put it more as for all the styles, because I feel like it does really play into more than just one style. I feel like there's a history of a lot of these styles being kind of watered down in the media in order to make things more palatable for a general audience. So I feel like a lot of street dance culture has been kind of stripped of some of its roots in that world. But as of right now, I think that's led us to where we are now, where there's a lot of visibility, and there's a beautiful visibility of it. But because there's been a certain type of representation in certain lanes, we're only able to see a certain aspect of it.
Can you give an example? Like, and I don't want you to name names you don't want to name.
Oh, yeah,
it's not about that, but can you give me like a concrete example of that? Like meaning an outlet where people see the dance, but it's been watered down and detached from its roots.
I won't give any names because I'm actually not even thinking of any actual
I just wanted to let you know
examples
that
at the moment.
We're not here to like disparage people.
That's but sometimes watching. Okay, I'll give this example. Sometimes in auditions or casting calls for different music videos or shows, they'll specifically ask for a specific dance style, a specific street dance style. And then you'll have people in the room that are professional, high level talent in that style within the room, and they're not the ones that are hired. World-class dancers in that street dance style, but they're not hired. And somebody that is very new and or has only taken a couple classes within that style is hired, not because of their ability, but because of what the industry may see as the look, the image, has overpowered the actual culture of the dance style. And I feel like it's part of my duty, if I'm not bringing in the people that are high level to be in these spaces, then it's my duty to educate the people that are in these spaces already to become at a higher level and to respect the culture and understand the foundations of these styles, so that overall we're seeing a very visible representation of what's actually happening on the ground with these styles
Right.
in this culture.
So what would be your like dream gig then that would help? I know that's a huge question, but I'm thinking like you must have some kind of vision based on what you're saying of a commercial project that does this justice.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say I was actually talking.
And while you're thinking, do you have an answer?
I think I do have an
Okay.
answer. I was talking recently with Chantel about
Shout out, Chantel.
about this because we were asking like what would be like the thing that you felt like you knew that you made it after you did that thing. And I feel like for
Okay.
myself right now, that would be creating or being a part of something, whether as a dancer or as a choreographer, that was culturally transcending. And what I mean by that is like something that this is a form of media that is constantly looked back on, like from future generations. They constantly reference this as like, wow, that was amazing. This is something that fed me or inspired me even like 20 years from now. Whereas like something like, I'll give the movie Sinners, for example. And especially a lot of dancers talk about that scene within the movie where they are like, they're brought into another world, and it's like history and the future are overlapping each other within this one scene in the movie. I won't give it away.
Yeah, don't, because I haven't seen it yet.
If people have not seen it yet.
Spoiler alert.
But exactly. But things like that, where it's like, wow, people are talking about this. This is something that people are going to come back to and continue to be inspired about. And I want to do that with dance. I want to be a part of something where people are looking at that when it comes to dance and they're like, wow, this was a cultural shift or a cultural reset for dance, specifically street dance.
Yeah.
Something like break-in, or like even I'll say like You Got Served. That was a moment for street dance.
Every dancer I know talks about that movie.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
Like something legendary like that,
Yeah.
where it's like we feel seen, the culture is respected, and for the time, even though You Got Served it's of its time and it may not represent the culture fully to an extent, it was enlightening for a lot of people, and it was inspiring.
It was community based,
Yeah.
right? Like it has that element.
Exactly.
Because I know I see, it's so funny. Like I came into the street dance universe not really knowing much at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to see, like I'd see music videos and stuff, right? But in terms of just current, and once I started learning something about it, I started seeing it, in contemporary TV and in videos and whatnot, like the dance shows.
Yeah.
Right, World Dance, So You Think You Can Dance.
ABDC.
Right, and those shows bring out an incredible amount of talent. But when it comes to the street dancers, they're just so detached from, even the ones you see, like Pop and John. What he did in that format was just unbelievable.
Yes.
But I still feel like at the end of it, there's not because of him, like
Yeah.
right.
This is
But it was
amazing.
like you don't see the room of people admiring him. You don't feel like the crowd pushing him on. You don't feel Pop and Pete or some of the older dancers that inspire. Like it's all just detached, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I feel like part of it.
And they the people on that show. I don't know about the producers. Like Hollywood's Hollywood, but the judges respect the dance, whatever
Yeah,
the issues are with them, right? It's not like
absolutely.
they don't care.
Yeah. I feel like there is respect there from the people that know what's going on. The people that are in the dance know what's going on. The people, the OGs that see the street dancers, they know what's going on. They love what's happening. They love that it's being pushed, and they see and respect the dancers that are there. But it's interesting because I feel like outside of the dance world, they don't get to have that moment and that adoration.
Well, right, and this is the disconnect,
Yeah.
right, that I'm kind of referencing, is that despite the fact that this is, the synopsis to this podcast says, it references the world's largest arts movement. And no, I don't have the numbers, but I don't, like, somebody tell me what the other one is and I'll back off. But like, I don't think it's close.
Yeah.
Right? And yet, there's this strange disconnect. And I don't think it's the same as it is for, other art forms that get exploited and commercialized, because they all do. But I think there's something about this that is really strange.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see my dream project for you.
Yes, let me know.
Would be like your choreographed street dance based production that goes to Disney Hall, that goes to Carnegie, that gets in these places that are widely regarded as, Paris Opera House, wherever, widely regarded as the places where the great artists go to show their greatness. Because this has all that greatness isn't, but I think because of this disconnect, because it's not a lack of participation, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, this is so obscure. It's the least obscure thing.
Yeah. It's an opportunity. That's an opportunity to shake things up.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there is a desire to make street dance conform to other things.
Sure, and that it has in common. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
art forms have been subject to that.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts. Anyway, go on. I just wanted to, like,
but even conform within the type of art form of dance.
Right.
Street dance is often asked to conform to like the standards of ballet.
Yeah.
And to be viewed as high level or be incredible when it's something completely different. It's birth of something completely different.
Or it gets like, has to conform to like cheerleading.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which I've seen a lot of that when I go to some of these choreography showcases. I'm like, in 2025, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And I feel like that's part of because street dance in itself is political and it's actively not conforming, and so it's definitely not going to conform to that. I feel like that's part of the reason why it doesn't sometimes get the love from the outside world, because they're trying to put it into this box of it has to look this way. And street dance, hip hop culture is about not being in the box. It's about being different. It's about being you.
And it's because like take painting, right? And of course we have tons of commercial art and there's an industry and there's people who get, beaten down by the industry and all that. But there's also this thing where it's like new artists emerge that are totally radical and sell paintings, right? I mean, I guess, I'm no art historian. A lot of these people, a lot of times that doesn't happen until the artist is dead, unfortunately. But that's not always the case. There is sort of this drive to like break through, and you'll go to like a gallery and there'll be something super, super weird, and people will get a chance to get exposed to it.
Yeah.
Same goes for music, right? Yeah, like Ornette Coleman did not sell millions of albums, but he has over time.
Yeah.
But did become something that got attention and that other people started copying.
Yeah.
And, whereas I feel like street dance is waiting for that kind of opening.
Yeah. It's interesting that even drawing that parallel, because I feel like there is an element of within just like drawing the parallel between the two.
Between
like,
music and dance?
and just how, I guess, some people may not sell or like get their shine until after they passed on.
Yeah.
I feel like there's an element of that within dance too. It's like you can either be the person that is the influence for a lot of different things and for the culture and for people to like say, oh, I like that cool element of it, I'm going to use that too. Or you can be the one that gets that shine. And sometimes they don't happen when you want them to happen.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like, I don't want to, like, I realize that all art forms have this in common to some extent, right?
Yeah.
But there's something about the scale of this movement relative to the legit exposure, and not even legit, because most of the stuff is in the box. And what I mean by that is in the, it's something for broadcast or for the internet. And you know, the stage things are far and few between. Anyway, I know you're gonna break through that.
Thank you. We're working on it because it's a journey. It's a matter of sticking to your guns and not giving up, because being true to yourself and sharing your art authentically, one, it feeds me, but also I feel like there's a duty to also share that too and to keep going. I feel like giving up in that process is not just doing myself a disservice. It's taking the opportunity from somebody else to experience my art and to experience just something awakening for themselves.
Is there a dancer that preceded you that you would credit with having that kind of influence on you? The kind of influence that you're talking about. Not, you know, you don't want to give up because, not just for you, but for the culture at large and for some other dancer, presumably younger, who might see you and get inspired. Is there somebody like that for you?
I feel like
multiple people.
Yeah, I would say most of my teachers.
Most of your teachers.
Most of
all
my
the way
teachers.
From
yeah, anybody that has taught me and fed into me, I know whether they've told me themselves or I just kind of just know the journey of being in that world, whether being a school teacher or being an artist themselves. There's always that moment of like, is this what I really want to do? Should I give this up? So I can think of people like my West African dance teacher in high school. She has her own dance company.
What's her name?
Mama Naomi Juf.
Naomi Juf? I like to get the names out.
Mama Naomi Juf Washington.
I will look people up and link where possible out. So
yes. She has a dance company named Diamanakura in the Bay Area. And I know for a fact that she's probably had a moment of like, this is a lot. This is tough. This is challenging. And seeing that she is in her older years now, still dancing, still sharing her gift, that's inspiring. Yeah. I'm only 31. I still have so many years to go to share my art in different capacities, to being like, yeah, this shouldn't end here. There's so many more people that can be impacted by what I'm doing. And she may not even know how much she impacted my life by just existing and doing what she's been doing and keeping on, but she did. I wouldn't be here in this interview in LA without what she's done for me. Because, fun fact, she also wrote my college recommendation letter.
Oh, nice.
So I wouldn't be here without her carrying on and keeping going.
Yeah.
So I want to be that for somebody else. I want to be that inspiration, that person that is inspiring somebody to try something new or to see something new or to have a different take or experience with something when it comes to art, and maybe that transcends into how they live their daily life or how they choose to express themselves. It's almost not an obligation, but it does feel like a calling. I
love going. That. I think the daily, to me, I think the daily life part of all those things you mentioned is the most important, and from my perspective. And I gotta say that yourself and all the other dancers in this community that I've experienced have done that for me. Like, and what I mean by that is there's a lot to potentially worry about in this world, and I'm generally not really a big worrier, right? But I am someone who thinks a lot about stuff, And what I mean by that is like I care about people, and I see what's going on in the street, and I try to get involved at least a little bit, right, and not just like pretend it's not happening.
Yeah.
And all these rooms filled with dancers, whether they're competing or just learning or whatever, the kind of like willingness to just get together and work things out and be present and vulnerable has been just an incredible reminder for me personally, right? I want to thank you for that. So like,
well, thank you.
you know, because it is, and that's why I'm always talking about like people need to see this, right? Because it's not, it's great to see a performer perform, and for people like the kind of talent and background that you have to go out there and be great is, you know, priceless, right?
Yeah.
But like the daily life influence that this dance culture has is like, I honestly, for someone who, you know, came completely from the outside, that's the gift, I think.
Yeah.
You know, at least that's been the gift to me, and that's the gift that I try to communicate when I talk.
That's
about
beautiful.
This.
That's beautiful.
Because like, where else do you see it?
Truly, honestly,
like, really.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't think of another place where you see that.
I know it's not. You know, musicians don't do this, right?
Really?
Well, the groups are smaller, right? It's not. It
okay.
doesn't work like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know,
you
can't fill up a room full of like saxophone players and like tell them to start going nuts, right? It's just not. It's not gonna work.
Some
right?
place that I think you might be able to see something like that might be with singers. I feel like if you put a bunch of singers in a room, you might see a connection that might happen.
You would for musicians too, but I'm more. Yeah, you're right. I'm not talking about the ability to get together and make the music. I'm talking about this more like broader, like cultural interaction, and you don't have to necessarily know how to play the instrument or to sing.
Okay, yeah,
right?
yeah.
To participate in some way.
Yeah.
And it can bring value, and not just make you feel like you're just watching something.
Yes.
Right? That you're actually a part of it, even if you're not necessarily doing it.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely in the street dance world, that is a beautiful aspect, because separating the industry in the street dance world, when you're on the stage, there's a separation there. But when you're in the battle world, you go from being in the battle to hanging out with that same person you were just battling.
Right.
You go from directing your energy at somebody to being in a cipher where everybody's experiencing your energy from 360 degrees, to just talking to somebody, to maybe just like grooving with somebody because you both like the music and you just both wanted to hit a two-step together. And that's beautiful, because there's so many different things interweaving and different conversations happening, whether verbally or just with our bodies.
Do you, like, the conversation part and the language part is really interesting to me. You've mentioned storytelling a few times. The kind of storytelling that you want to do on stage with groups, not necessarily your own personal expression, but the kind of thing you're talking about, or that you have done. Do you see it as a literal story, right? Like, okay, I want to tell the tale of Miss B who went to city A, and you know what I mean? Or is it more, how do you see your storytelling in terms of its tangible nature?
A lot of the times I don't see it as like I guess a direct story, but a lot of different themes and ideas that people can connect to and then take them on a journey with that. So like, if my goal is to make people have an awakening or an understanding of just like, I'll use just like the difference between, or like the expression of masculine and femininity.
Okay.
If I'm using that, I want to figure out how to make people feel one or the other of those very different themes or ideas, and then figure out like, all right, this is what these feel like on completely opposite sides of the spectrum. What does that look like when they slowly begin to come together? What does that look like when they just like meld together and are harmonious? And then is there like a point in there where it riffs and they don't work? Is there a point where they come back together?
Okay, so you start with this core theme and a goal of, like you said, you want people to see this thing differently by the time it's done.
Yes.
Okay, that's very that's really helpful and concrete. Like I can really.
Yeah.
Do you explore with that theme a lot? Because I feel like you're super comfortable being who you are, and that you have a very like a strong feminine side that expresses itself in your dance, and you don't give a fuck.
Nope.
Right? Which I've always loved. Like I've always loved that about your dance. Do you know where that comes from? Like, is there an answer? There, I realize there may be no answer for that, but
I feel like I want to make people feel something, and I feel like good art makes people feel something. Whether that may bring up different feelings that may not necessarily feel good, that's still art. That's still a purpose of art. I feel like part of the reason why I feel like I don't care sometimes is because at the end of the day, your opinion can't dictate how I feel and how I move, because then I'm doing myself a disservice.
Right.
Of I'm trying to move based upon all these different people that don't really care about me.
But you understand this, so like, do you have any idea? And again, if you don't, that's fine. But the reason I'm pressing is I just think this is really, it's always been interesting to me, and like, I mean, well, you were raised in church, right?
I went to Christian schools from elementary school to middle school.
Probably pretty conservative with the gender roles, right? Like, it's not like, but yet you're not like, you don't really.
I think that also might be part of it.
And I'm trying to answer. Part of this is I'm interested in for myself too, right?
I'm thinking too, because I think that might have unlocked a memory for myself. Now, even thinking about like me growing up in private Christian schools from elementary to middle school, we always wore uniforms. Like, we always had a uniform. You had your khaki pants, you had your polo shirt, and that was what that was what you wore to school. And then it wasn't until high school where I was like, we get to wear whatever we want to. I get to choose what I want to wear. I get to choose like where we go to go shopping to go buy what I want to wear. And I feel like that unlocked an interest in like my fashion sense. And then on top of that, it was like, I've been told what to wear this whole time. I'm not going to allow anybody else to tell me what I can and cannot wear. I get to wear exactly what I want to wear, and you can't tell me no.
Is there anything that you wanted to ask me before we, like, this is intended to be a conversation, right? But I end up driving because it's my podcast, but I don't mean to put up that wall, right? It just kind of ends up working out that way. Yeah. Plus, I'm a chatty motherfucker. I'm really curious, so I just kind of go and what's that? But anyway, if there's anything you want to ask me,
there's definitely a question for me, and it's about music. I guess, as someone who's a musician coming into the dance space, what are some things that you've noticed musically about the dance world that has differed from just like how you've been involved in the music world?
Oh, this is great. So there's this really famous quotation from Stravinsky, which is that, who knows, they say it's from him, these quotes often get misattributed. But that when music gets too far away from the dance, it fails or ceases to become music or something like this. But you get the point, right? And this is from somebody who, do you know about The Rite of Spring? You familiar with this piece?
No.
So that's his most famous piece.
Okay.
I think he debuted in somewhere around 1920.
Okay.
And it caused riots in these concert halls.
Okay.
You listen to it now and you're like, really? But there's a lot of dissonance, especially in the early part of the composition, and aggressive rhythms, and it's just like people wanted to hear Mozart, and like, what are you bringing us this noise? If you listen to it now, as a dancer, you'd be like, there's tons of rhythm there.
We'd be used to it.
But anyway, I always stuck in the back of my mind, and I don't think I truly understood it until I really started spending time around dancers, right? And I very quickly realized, I didn't know the different styles or ins and outs, and I still feel like I'm a baby in terms of learning all this stuff. However, I really didn't know anything, but I was like pretty quickly could tell who was a good dancer and who wasn't because of their musicality, right? Like Slim, one of the first conversations I had with him was like, "Did you study music?" Because his musicality is so crazy, and he didn't. But he said, there was always jazz plays in the house, and he had a lot of exposure to music, but I guess that's just part of his gift. He's obviously got a good ear, right? And this pretty much goes for any good dancer. So I really love seeing what dancers who are, have a certain level of accomplishment, who are free in their movement and able to listen, what they hear in the music, right? Because, the hardest thing to do, for example, a slow tune, right? Pretty much any performing art, the slow thing is the hardest, right? Like, play a drum beat like it, 40 beats a minute, and hold that. Like, it's so hard. Dance battles, right? A slow two comes out, and you see people fail a lot of times, and so it's like, okay, who are what are dancers, or reverse, dancers that can take a really, really fast tune and pull out the slow parts. So I have been actually working on a curriculum, Rhythm for Dancers, and it's kind of about this.
Okay.
How do you feel the slow beat, no matter how fast the tune is, right? So that I ask more. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but that's what I like to see. That's what I learned about dancers, and I think the street dance. What I like so much about it is that all forms of dance, your job is to express the music, but street dance, you really need to become the music instantaneously. And I think that's an amazing thing, and it also gave me a new appreciation for hip hop, which, as someone who I love music, right? Like I've always listened to some hip hop music, but I don't have a deep bag of it. Like I don't have a great, like I know jazz, right? I know like rock music. I don't know a ton about hip hop, right? I have certain artists that grabbed my ear, right? Like when they came out, but it's given me a new appreciation for why hip hop is so stripped down, because it totally serves the dance and vice versa, right? Like you're given this piece of music and you instantly need to become it, or even if you're just in a club, right? If you're really there to dance, you want to be able to become that music, and you can't do it if there's too much going on.
You have to know what you're listening to. You have to be able to find it. If it feels too busy, it just kind of feels. I feel like the body would also reflect that.
Right, and there's always something in the music that's not busy if you know how to listen. So those are the things that I think about.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's also, even using what Slim had told you as an example, like that's a great just like reminder of how dancers are studying music all the time, even if we haven't classically or formally trained the study of music, because we're listening all the time. And as street dancers specifically, we're having to listen and adapt and move at the same time.
Right. And I love the way like all the little details will be heard, somebody like Flying Lotus, right? Like those kind of producers that put all those little details in there, and then you see dancers respond to those and build off them, and so it's really, really drawn the connection. It really made that Stravinsky quote real, to me in a really profound way.
Okay, I love that.
So thanks for asking that. Nobody's ever asked me that. I never really talked about it. So
you brought up music, so I was like, I wanted, that just sparked my curiosity about how you heard and understood the music in comparison to like way of dance.
Can we do a little experiment? And please, I've got an electronic drum kit,
Okay.
and could we try to have a little exchange and see who's listening to what?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, give me like 5 minutes to I clear this out, and
Okay.
it won't take that long.
Okay,
You know,
cool.
plug things in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. We'll be back in a sec.
In a sec.
All right. Thank you, Jabari.
Thank you.